Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I have another episode of Sunday Mailbox for you guys. I'm not sure what the gameplay is going to be right now. I haven't decided. It's probably going to be some sniper montage highlights or something like that from last night's play session. So the first question is, regarding LMGs, why aren't bipods used more often? I understand that the mobility issue and soldiers wanting to remain in motion, but seriously, bipods don't seem to get any love at all. It's rare I ever see anyone playing with them, and when I do, it's because the player is a low level with no other attachments to equip in that slot. Do you think it's map design or player mentality that needs to change? Or do you think the buff with the new patch will make them more appealing? So yeah, great question. I would say that the reason why players don't use the bipod as often as the foregrip is because the foregrip is just that much more powerful. It's more effective in more situations. The bipod is really only good on certain maps and only in certain situations where maybe you're the defender on rush and you need to hold down a hallway or a kind of a narrow passageway where the enemies need to come from. But for the most part, that's not going to happen, and you're going to be using the foregrip because in most situations, the foregrip is just a superior attachment. In the upcoming patch, though, they are buffing the bipod, and I think it might get to the point where it becomes a viable attachment. They are also nerfing the foregrip significantly to make it more of a close quarter attachment. It's kind of confusing how they're working it, but it's going to be more for close quarter engagements. And while the bipod is getting a significant buff, I think they're reducing the animation time for you to place it down on the ground. And I think, if I remember right, they are also making more surfaces available to place down, or make it easier to place down the bipod. And that's one of the beefs I have with that attachment, is because it's just so difficult to find or even to get that thing deployed in a situation. And usually when I do try to get it deployed, it doesn't work, or it takes so long that I get shot and taken out. So with these changes, I think it's going to make the bipod much more viable, because you're going to be able to be a little bit more mobile, and when you get into that position where you want to hunker down, you're not going to be penalized and immediately killed by a player that rounds the corner, and you're still taking like 5 seconds to set up your bipod. It doesn't take 5 seconds, but it really is a long time. So yeah, I think it's going to be used more frequently in the recent patch, but we're really not going to know until things change. And also, I don't think it's player mentality. Players, or partially it is, they understand that the bipod just is not as good as a foregrip, so why use it? So the next question is, what do you think of implementing some kind of explosives like C4 for the Recon class? I think that the Recon has a real disadvantage against vehicles than the other classes, and that some kind of explosive could make things more equal. Yeah, I would definitely like to see the Recon class get some sort of anti-vehicle explosives, or really just anything to take care of tanks and enemy vehicles. I know people are going to say that the SOFLAM really is all they deserve because they already have the MAV, the tugs, and the spawning beacon, which is great, but there's just so many different situations where the SOFLAM just becomes useless. It's really not that great against tanks because it takes so long to set up, and if you try to jump out of cover real quick to place it, you're going to get sniped by the tank real quickly. It's great against enemy helicopters if you're working with an engineer to take them out. It's awesome in those situations, but for the most part, I would like to see something that the Recon can just, like C4, run up to a tank real quick, place C4, and then run away and take it out. I mean, it was in Bad Company too. I think it worked in Bad Company too, and I'm not really sure why DICE had to give it all to the support class. And I know a counter-argument to this is that the assault class is also one that can't do any damage to enemy vehicles, and you're absolutely right. But I think that the assault class should also get some sort of anti-vehicle equipment just to kind of counterbalance that, because when you're playing on a class and you run into a vehicle, and that's really what all Battlefield is all about. There is a lot of vehicles in this game, and when you come across a vehicle and you really want to play that certain kit, but you're just completely useless against it, it's a little annoying. So I would like to have the assault class, before people rage and like, no, the assault class should never do damage against tanks. I think they should get some sort of weaker RPG that maybe does half the damage of what the RPG does, for the engineer class, and I think that would be a nice compromise, and you wouldn't be able to use like the med pack or something like that. But just something that you can do a little bit of damage to the enemy tank so you can help your team out and also use the weapons that you really want to use. Yes, you're at a disadvantage because you're not using the kit that's appropriate for taking out tanks, but you're not absolutely useless. I think that would be a nice compromise, and I think it's something that I would like to see in the game. So the next question is, do you think DICE should have a jet game type? Coming from a player who just started using jets, I find it hard to keep up with other pilots. Do you think that XP should be enabled in this game mode? Do you think that all vehicles should have their own game type, or for players like me who need to become more skilled at them? Yeah, I would definitely love to see a jet game type in Battlefield 3. I think it would be an absolute blast. I think I mentioned this in one of my videos before Battlefield 3 even came out. I was speculating on what kind of game modes I would like to have, and this is one of them. I think it would be a lot of fun. I would expect this to come from a modder, but since mod tools aren't available in Battlefield 3, which is really disappointing, that actually can't happen. So if DICE does take some initiative and create this game mode, I would be all over it. I can see where DICE would be a little hesitant, some balancing issues would come into play, especially what you're talking about with experience. You know, do you reward players for experience? I definitely think you should, but if you have a bunch of noobs on your team, I can see where the really skilled pilots are going to completely dominate the airfield, and even if you're trying to learn, like you said, you're new to jets, even if you're trying to learn, you're going to be versus a lot of experienced jet fighters or jet players who normally would just be on Caspian border, patrolling the skies, but now they have this game mode where they can play all day and completely destroy newer players. So it could be a little frustrating. I can see where that would be as well. But overall, I would like to see this game mode. I think it would be a lot of fun, and I would really hope that our DICE would look into this. And alright, so that's it for the questions for today. I do want to know what you guys think about these topics, so please let me know in the comments section below. If you would like to submit your own question that could be potentially featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by sending me a YouTube message with the title line Q&A. But if you guys could do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more videos. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.